So, can you give me a quick sound check, please, guys? I'm assuming you can hear me absolutely fine. Yeah, that's pretty much the sound check there. Awesome. So, how are you guys getting on? You okay? Good. Great stuff. Glad to hear it. Good, good. Good all round. Great stuff. Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm not too bad. I'm not too bad either. Thanks for asking, guys. Yeah, love to see Sharon. Sharon is Karen. Love to see the consideration from my lovely peers. Bunch of absolute assholes, aren't you? Eh? All right. So yesterday was pretty choppy. Gotta be honest. It wasn't great. It was a bit of a rough start to the week. I think at the moment, as it currently stood this morning, the fund was down. So I think we're actually in drawdown mode at around minus 0.34%. Unfortunately, it took 0.75% off the top because of the NAS 100, which was a bloody terrible breakout. I mean, it even put last week's to shame. The Tuesday periods. I didn't even bother leaving up the trade templates for the positions here, but it was so bad yesterday, and everything I was doing just was going wrong. We ended up getting an okay move, and that was about 7:15, and we got this big breakout of liquidity and came down to excuse me, this area at around 1974. Thing is, 1974 isn't anything. It's actually, it's not really a major point of liquidity. We do have the really nice big point down here, which obviously we can all clearly see. It's well articulated, very, very nice big point of liquidity. But the market decided to just stop there. We did form a floor, and that was at around 1978, 67. And that floor is basically representative of the 50% point between these two major margins. It was incredibly difficult trading terrain. Did you guys do any better than me? That is the question. Did you guys have a bit of a better time than me, or was it rough all round? I mean, the NAS 100 was a complete washout. I don't know where I could have improved on that. It was just a complete washout. The US 30 Dow Jones was equally a washout, but the move down came at a better time. We actually got a break close and a retest of big liquidity at 42,114, and then had the drop down, which was completed by 7:45. Also, taking note of the fact that the bottom, where it started to bounce, was actually at a previously used level of liquidity. So the Dow Jones move was far superior to the NAS 100 yesterday. But both of them were extremely difficult trading. Hey, good afternoon, Paul, and good afternoon, Michael. Good to see you guys. I didn't trade the stocks, but did well in the Forex pairs. Excellent, Nadia. Well done. I'm glad to hear it. Matthew took the initial loss, then closed the chart. It was a standstill. Yep, good man. I don't know what happened to me yesterday. I mean, I set out the trading parameters, and I executed the trading parameters. I mean, it was really black and white. I didn't feel like, on reflection, I was possibly chasing trades or anything like that. I had the plan. I traded the plan. It's just the plan went to shit. So that's where I ended up yesterday evening. It was pretty rough, but we pulled it. We did pull a couple of wins. We had the Aussie NZD short. UK Brent was actually a really nice one as well. So it wasn't all terrible. It was just those US stocks yesterday were pretty bad. So our UK Brent, UK oil long was really nice, 1.277, straight to the top. We actually hit liquidity up here and rejected as well. So if you did have the, actually no, you wouldn't have. No, you wouldn't have done that unless you set it up as a pending order. The pending order possibility for the breaker structure there would have made for a really beautiful short down. So actually, yeah, there was a trade there. But it was really nice, regardless. Really, really decent moves. I think, well, on the basis of where it is at the moment, I'm probably not going to be overly hyped about this one anymore because of this area in here. It's very, very unpredictable. This was a clear breaker structure, which is why we had the order in there. This is now obsolete. The only trade idea that I would like to see in this one is a possible pending order at around 80.62, 50% stop. Actually, no, scrap that. Probably a little bit higher up there. Probably about there. So, yeah, about there for the stop. Breaker structure trade 1 to 1.87. That is a possibility. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that whatsoever. This structural point is still intact, and we can see that because of the highs in the market here. So if the market breaks through this top, chances are we're probably going to be testing out 81.35 yet again. So that's not too bad. Gold was a complete and utter mess. The breakouts, I mean, there was no second attempt on this. It was just repeatedly firing off, not achieving anything. It was just a complete and utter mess, unfortunately. The trade idea actually hit stop loss in the first 45 minutes. So it was executed and then it was stopped out at 4 p.m. That was that one. We haven't actually made any progress anywhere in gold. Even now, we've not really gone much of anywhere. Obviously, we can't look at this. We were waiting for this area, which now would be this area to take the trade-ish. We did come just above that one, and then we've dipped right down again. This would have been a stop out had we have taken this trade. So gold for me at the moment is a no-go. I wouldn't mind shorting it from 2666 up here, but I'm not favouring any kind of longs at this stage. So we can remove that. We can set ourselves up for a potential short from this area. We know where the target profit would be. That would be down and around this area. And so therefore we can put an alarm in for this area so that when it triggers, we can get ready to consider shorts back down. So Aussie CAD at the moment. So Aussie CAD, we didn't actually set up for an Aussie CAD yesterday. The short that came into play thereafter at about 3 o'clock in the morning was not too bad, as it happens. We actually fell straight through the floor. I mean, the initial breaker structure here was okay, but we did need the retest, which we got. And then it fell straight the way down here to 91.55. And it's recovered really nicely. It's come right the way back up to our point of liquidity in there. So the breaker structure point for the short would be here. And so we're basically like right on the cusp of a potential opportunity in this AC. Now the short target would be there. And we're basically looking at taking this as our trading margin. Now the stop loss is a little bit wild here. So the stop probably would be, I don't know, where would the stop be? I mean, probably there. That's where it would usually be. So something like that as the AC short pending. Maybe, yeah, I think that looks about right. Yeah. My hesitation comes because of the previous high. That's where my hesitation's coming from. Because of that area there. In an ideal world, I would much rather have the stop up here, but then I wouldn't be taking the trade. So therefore, does that mean I'm breaking rules? I mean, I'm not breaking rules. It is what it is. It just doesn't fill me with a great deal of confidence because of where that stop loss is, being in 91.92. But the target profit is very close. I mean, this ultimately could be done in the space of 4 or 5 50-minute candles and over and done with. So the exposure to the market's not going to be It's not going to be prolonged, is it? I'm not going to put that as a pending. I'm not going to put that as a pending. I'm going to put that as an alarm. Market triggers the alarm. I might look at it for a market order. We'll check that one out. Okay, Aussie yen. We were looking at this one being a long. We pushed into liquidity nicely. I gave you guys the heads up. It didn't matter because we never actually came back above. We ended up actually selling off quite significantly. Again, at the same time with the RBA event that was on overnight, and we sold off all the way back down to 99.10. And we've not really been doing too much since then. Very, very intermittent, gradual incline here. Recovering some of the losses, but honestly, guys, there are no trading opportunities that I would foresee in this asset at the moment. That one can be left, though. I'm not going to remove this pending order. It's not been invalidated or anything at this stage, so I'm just going to leave that alone. But there's nothing more I need to say about the Aussie yen. The Aussie NZD was a brilliant move yesterday. We got really far down to a maximum low of 109.83. This trade idea, obviously at a 1 to 2.2, was absolutely fine, and it was nicely executed. Could have been a lot better had we been awake at 2 o'clock in the morning, and probably looked for this area here as the target at 109.90. But that being said, it was a nice trade, and it was a win, so I'm not going to turn my nose up at it at all. Future trade ideas in the Aussie NZD at the moment probably include the long upon the break of structure of this area, basically looking to do the same exact trade we did for the short, but then for the long. So looking at a trade idea like this, for example, at a 1 to 2. That one, not too bad at all. If the market continues trading lower, that's absolutely fine. I'm not interested in shorting the Aussie NZD until I can get my teeth stuck into this trading margin down here. So like that. So that trading margin in there. Certainly happy to look at this. I'm also not actually dismayed at the idea of taking a trade from here up to there. But all of these trade ideas aside, which are all okay, we can't take anything in it now. Pending order for this one. Certainly would be okay taking the pending order down there. Okay, so that's another trade idea. And you are also okay looking at alarms being placed in the market for the reversal from this area back up to there. Obviously, we can't set this up as a pending, but this will be, set an alarm up down at around that 109.86 area to then look at the breaker structure for the run back up to around 110.12. This is just trend continuation ultimately. Are we still on that? Yeah, well, the price line is, isn't it? That's where it's trading at the moment. So Aussie dollar. This is really going to be it, to be honest. No, I'm not doing that either. It's not good. Yeah, so no, not for the Aussie dollar. Not for the CAD Swiss. CAD yen back up at break even. Euro Oz. Yeah, that's what I did for you guys this morning upon the recap. Euro Oz would have been a really nice trade idea. Unfortunately, we did not get the retest, and therefore we did not get the entry, so that one was non void. Because of this, we can delete all of that. There is potential for a short. I would say that. This area in here is actually a really nice BOS. It's a decent structural point. Unfortunately, we do have a TRF which is situated there, which is kind of representative of a flag, I would say. But we'd still have to consider that, trading this margin again. However, it still looks like a relatively decent trade. So have it exactly the same as the long, we're just this time shorting it for around a 1 to 2.5. So that's quite decent as well. We can switch that out to a short. Euro yen doing absolutely nothing. It's come close to stop several times, but it's not doing anything, completely range bound. And that is the recap of yesterday's trading session. So on to the second half then. Euro NZD first of all. Really, really big bullish move so far. Right the way up on Monday. Nice price action pullback overnight. Hasn't really made too much progress today, not necessarily. On the daily time frame, so just have a look at this. So the daily time frame has actually come up to a point of interest. That's this high or series of highs here. So if we look at that there as our point of liquidity, actually it's not quite reached it yet, has it? Very close to, but not quite. I would be much, much more happy seeing price action push into the 180 area before taking any shorts. And I think it's going to do that. I really do. So there's not really a bullish trading setup. It's just a case of waiting for the market to come up to that area and then reject it. I'm also not looking for a full-on rejection for price action to trade all the way back down to 176. I'm only looking for, I would say probably this point here as a nice rejection point. So possibly look at the Euro NZD short down to around 178.80. And the path, just to visually represent what we're looking for here, push into liquidity and then break of structure wherever that may be, probably from this high here, and then all the way back down to 178.80. Break of structure point is about there. Just raise that up. I'd say that's going to be our trade. Pending order only when the market has reached the liquidity, and then we can place the pending order in the market, have that short set up for us, and let the money do the work on our behalf. So that's that. Euro dollar. No. GA. Very solid breakout retest. Problem is, if we go short there, we're going to run straight into this. So it doesn't really have the short margins available. And if we get a breakout long of this area at 194.85, okay, that inflection point, where is that? That's probably the same one as this, isn't it? So let's mark these out so we don't get confused. So then we have that area in there, and that becomes the margin. But then we have this TRF, don't we, which is situated about there. That looks like a very, very messy setup to me. I'm not a fan. Anyone else a fan of the GA? Or is anyone else seeing something that I'm not seeing there on that chart? Good afternoon, James. Wakey, wakey. I'm going to take the silence as no one sees a damn thing. And, ramble. Yeah. In a nutshell, yeah. And no, not where it is right now. I don't like it. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, it could well be heading into money, but it ain't there yet, is it? Yeah, this move has actually been really nice. But what we've got to deal with at the moment, no thank you. Okay, moving on. Pound against the CAD. Pound against the CAD. Okay, well, we've got a hell of a murder scene down here. And that's now traded up to the floor of this point. A lot of these pound pairs are in precarious positions, aren't they? Pound pairs in precarious positions. Definitely not intended. Right, so we're trading up against the floor. There's money in the market there. We have a trading margin above, but that's about there. Is that large enough? Yeah, this is tough actually, because we've got this nice point down here, and then looking at the breaker structure point, okay, we have this area, which is a really nice breaker structure, but then we have the one directly below it, which is a bloody wall as well. So the only real trading margin for us in this space is going to be here in this area. So what we'll do, because this is now getting a little bit ridiculous, we'll remove that. This is the only area that we need to consider for shorts. The long, I'm not going to bother posting. I'm just not a fan of it. The short, however, this could work. So I'm going to load up that short via pending order. Entry 178.15, target 177.66, and the stop up at around 178.37. The long isn't worth it, in my humble opinion. If we get a breakout of liquidity at around 179.55, we have a very, very nice trading opportunity available to us. But we're nowhere near doing that at the moment. So we're going to have to just hold tight on the long and just continue with the short bias for the time being. Obviously, we'll revisit this tomorrow. If things change, then we can change, but that's where we are at the moment. Pound against the Swiss. This is actually really nice, the G Swiss, because the margins are all right. We've got a really nice volatile and trending market state structure, and everything kind of makes sense here, right? So it's not got bad establishment whatsoever, and the waves are very clean. You know, a lot of accumulation and distribution phases being carried out nicely, as it should be. So I guess what we could be looking for here is a rejection at the top of the trend. The counter trend breaker structure is going to be from this area in here. And then we can look at a miniature intraday trade down to the median, or down to the low of this area in here, which makes sense. So if we go right the way back to this area and then zone in about there, this then becomes the trading margin, which I think is quite decent. So if we get an entry target at that area there and put the stop at around here, then you've got a nice, that's a bit low, isn't it, that entry breaker structure? There we go. Yeah. So that's going to be at around about where the short in the pound Swiss would be. TRF situated there. But you're already going to be in the market for a 1-to-1 at that point. So you can take a judgment call on it and decide what you want to do when it gets down there. But I think that G Swiss short is not bad. Right, pound yen. What are we looking at today then, Mr. GJ? So we've got established highs, major inflection point, a lot of institutional selling pressure, up at around 195 to 196. We're not too far away from it now. We've been forming a consistent series of higher lows. So there's still buying pressure in the market, heading up to this area. We have a decent trading margin between the high and the ascending level for our trading parameters, which is good. And two key points for buying and selling. The key point for the buys is here. And there goes the Aussie CAD. And key point for the sell is possibly this, but it could be a little bit lower. But I think that's not bad. I don't think that's too bad. Right, let's have a look at the AC quickly. Alright, it's dipped down. It's forming a bit of a doji at the moment, isn't it? Has got a really nice candlestick here, though. What do you guys think about this AC? You're going to have to react quickly. It's at entry right now. It's pushed real far into liquidity. We've got a really nice move away from liquidity. We've got the breaker structure and the parameters have been set. We haven't got any major economic / fundamental catalyst to stir things up. And the TRF for this one is all over the place. That's the only thing. Technically speaking, it's a bit of a minefield. But, I mean, that's nice as well, isn't it? Right, I'm going to set up another alarm on top. And I'm going to carry on with the session. If it comes back down to that area, I think I'm probably going to go for it. But I'm going to give it another attempt to do what it wants to do. And then we'll go from there. Right, pound yen. So, pound yen opportunities. 2 opportunities. We push down, we reject, we break structure, we climb. Opportunity trade number 1. It's going to be quite a big one. The risk reward ratio on this one is really, really solid. So that's an approximation of the long. Obviously based on a breaker structure, we don't know where it's going to be exactly yet. For the short, from this area here down to the ascending level. Not anywhere below it, down to it. So you're just going to have to take a judgment call on where you think that's going to be approximately and adjust accordingly as time goes on. The stop loss for this one is going to be a nice margin above there. You're looking at a 1 to 2.5 for the short. Again, another really strong risk reward yield. Anything more to be said about this? Not really. I don't think at this stage. Remember that the only time the pending order can be set for this one is when the market comes up and pushes into liquidity. As soon as it hits this point here, we can then set the pending order and watch the market decline back down, or so we hope. That one's going to be a blue. Right, cable. Oh, no way. NZD CAD. That's not a bad margin there. That's the NFP move, isn't it? Yeah. So we've traded down to big liquidity there. So I do like where we've traded from. Actually, well, saying that, we haven't really got stuck into it too far yet. Dipped our toes in the water. I do like to go for a full swim though before anything. And if we get a breaker structure trade there up to there, that's not a bad little margin. So I like the NZD CAD in terms of the bigger picture, but I'm not ready to be taking any trades in it just yet. What I want to see, again, is the move deeper into the money, because there will be pending orders in here waiting to go, and then I will look at the buyback. This will also create a more gracious entry, because the breaker structure limit for the long then would probably be more like this rather than up here, which means we'll have a much greater risk reward yield whilst also having the confluence of the price action bedding in down here at that 83.20 area. So yes, potential long, but not yet. NZD Swiss, W reversal. Okay, let's have a look where the target is. So target for this one's going to be there. Yeah, so that's nice. We've got the midpoint of the W reversal, which is here. You see price action having a bit of a flirt with right now. So then what we're waiting for here is the break, close and retest of that area to confirm the W reversal and then the move on. So path, breakout, retest, continuation upwards. Wait for the retest and then the pending. So then you can get your breaker structure, aggressive or conservative, and have your trade in the market. Break, close, retest, your breaker structure point is probably going to be at about there, I would say. So, well, to be honest, that entry is probably going to be just a touch above. So a 1 to 2 reward is what you're probably looking at approximately for that one. So again, that's not actually looking too bad. NZD-JPY, no. NZD-USD. NZD-USD. Alright, daily time frame. Okay, that is really nice. Yeah, that is actually really nice. Big push in liquidity. Anchor chart looks superb. Possible target there. And that is actually really high up. So we're going to be well out of the trade before we even reach that TRF on the daily. So that is not bad at all. Breaker structure for this trade. That's going to be situated here at around the 61.55. Yeah, 61.55, 61.60 area. This is no man's land. That is a really nice trade. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. That's really nice. So breaker structure, that's going to be about there. You can take the trade idea to this area, which is based off of this. Whoops. So that's that. And then you have your stop loss at about that area there for a 1 to 2.3. Alternatively, you do have every capacity to take the trade idea right the way up to this area at 62.30. Now, I'm not going to the big daily zone up here, but that's because there are some TRFs up there on the daily time frame I don't want to get interested in. Or I don't want to get hit by, more precisely. So you do have the capacity to take the trade idea up there, and that's for a whopping 1 to 4, which is a bit too greedy for my liking. I don't usually do things like that, as you well know. But yeah, for preliminary glances, the 1 to 2.25 is going to be the one for me, and that looks really good. So I quite like the NZD-USD. However, we do have 3 New Zealand pairs now, which are all bullish, right? We're long all of these NZD ones. So we do need to be well aware of that. Possibly take 2 of the best ones that trigger. Okay, USD CAD, 50-minute time frame. It doesn't look that pretty, but this is actually a really, really strong run. It's only really given one direction, which is quite nice when a market does that. But the thing about it, if we go to the daily here, because I believe where we are at the moment, could be mistaken, to be fair. In fact, I think I am mistaken. I was thinking we were underneath this level still, so maybe we're not. This area in the middle of the USD CAD is a whopper, an absolute enormous midpoint for this USD CAD instrument. As it happens, it does look like we're breaking through the top of it now. I'd probably just set that down just a touch, like there, for example, which means that we are actually breaking free of this as we speak. If we do fully break through this, then we will be looking at a run back up to around 137.50. That's going to be one hell of a rally. That's really nice looking. Now, 50-minute time frame, we want to see the really nice deep push out, push in, and then take off. The size of this trade idea is significant, so I will be looking for something like this and getting a break close retest of that as well before entering into it. It's going to be this will be running for a while, so target profit all the way up at 137.50. The stop loss for this trade idea is probably going to be down at around this area in here, and that's going to yield a 1 to 3.5. So that is no joke. That's a really nice trade, but it will be running for a while. I mean, one of the recent trade ideas we did on the USD CAD, if you remember, we were in that bloody thing for 4 or 5 days, and that was a trade idea that was half the size of this. So just be aware. USD China. Excuse me. So on USD China daily charts, big up and down, bit of a V reversal point here. Hasn't confirmed the reversal yet though. Strange candle today, bit of indecision in the markets. We have this point in here to contend with for shorts. If we get a break down below this area, then a move to the previous lows is likely. So something like that, for example. Now on a 50-minute time frame, that's going to be one hell of a wide trading margin. Okay, we're looking, this is even larger, I would say, than the USD CAD. So you do have to think about that. The breaker structure to entry on this one. I mean, it might be more advisable to cut this trade in half. So let's say, for example, we look at one breaker structure element here, right? So that's going to be the first half of the trade. And the first half of the trade's target profit is going to be right bang in the middle of these two big margins, which is naturally there. So that's going to be trade idea number 1. And then trade idea number 2 is going to be the breaker structure under here down to here. So we're just essentially breaking these two moves in half and taking the two 1 to 2.2s or 1 to 2.4s or something. But it is looking relatively bearish, which is the contrarian view to what we've previously seen with the dollar instruments. So we do need to be wary of that. In an alternative view, of course, we have the break close retest taking place right now on the daily for the move back up to the previous high. The problem with taking longs here is there are way too many TRFs. The technical analysis really is misaligned here. The shorts, very nice. The longs, just definitely not. So I'm not going to be providing any long biases on that one at the moment. USD yen breakout, straight up and through the roof there. Yeah, it's come all the way back down now. Obviously, and that's NFP move, that one. So at this stage, I don't really have any trade ideas to be providing on this either. We're looking at probably the sell-off from this area 148.70 or the buy-in from this point here to go long back up to it. It's trading right in the middle of the two margins at the moment. So again, guys, not interested in trading this right now. Alrighty, so that's that then for the other half of the asset baskets. In terms of this morning's breakout session, the EU 50 was the only performer for me. The UK FTSE never even got a trigger off on it, and it sold off, and then it has been a hell of a grind all the way back up here. This is not a live trade idea, so please do not look at this and put that in your charts right now. That was from this morning's session, which is over and done with. The EU 50, like I said, that was okay. It wasn't great. It was just the best thing that there was out there. And that's as far as we got with the EU session. It was really bad. It was bloody awful. Looking at the US stocks then this afternoon, get in with our NAS 100 and Dow Jones. I mean, at the moment, looking at where things are trading, the margins to trade do not differ from yesterday's much at all, which is worrying for me, because I don't want to be caught out in anything like I was yesterday. So looking at where we are at the moment here, obviously it's a new day. We've got the breaker structure element, which is about there for the long up to the 20.080 area. Okay, so that's going to look like this. Okay, so really, really nice risk reward yield on that one. It's around a 1 to 3, a 1 to 2.8, 1 to 3. Depending on what happens exactly. And then, of course, on the short side, your breaker structure element is pretty mind-boggling here because of what's happened in the past, and especially with this floor. I mean, I don't like this at all. So if I was taking a short in the NAS 100, it really is going to be on the knife's edge, and you're looking at going short down here with a target profit of the low and your stop loss somewhere just above there. I mean, on a 1 minute time frame, you're going to be able to get, you know, a little bit more technical and where those parameters end up being, but that's around about what you're going to be looking at. And then we've got this big no man's land space between, you know, these two areas here where it's trading, but it's not big enough to actually trade on the 1 minute time frame. I don't want to do that either. So it is about waiting for the long or the short criteria to play out for either of these trades. And then for the US 30 Dow Jones, unfortunately, team, this is even worse in a sense because we've now come down to this big point of liquidity. We're trading right bang in the middle. And look at the trading volumes we've seen today. It's not done anything. Now, for the short, and we really are clutching at straws here. Oh, there goes the AC. Hang on a minute, guys. Just a quick tip. Break. Yeah. I'm liking it a lot better now that we've been up there again. Yeah, do you know what, folks? I'm going to take the Aussie CAD based on a market order. 0.25% in the thing. Yeah, okay. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Market order on the AC. Gone short. Down to 91.65. And the stop at the 91.93 level. Which obviously is looking absolutely superb right now as we see the market rallying against us. But we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. We've only just taken the trade. Let's see where it goes. Yeah, so back down to the Dow Jones. Breaker structure elements. Down here, we're looking at the short down to big liquidity. And that's going to be between these two areas in here. And your stop is going to be at around 42k. The long is going to be much more aggressive. And you're looking at the entry and the target there of 42.046 and 42.109 with the stop loss at about this area here for a 1 to 1.98 or whatever it is, something like that, which is what I imagine it will be. And then this is the no man's land. So the US 30 Dow Jones has a much lesser of a no man's land than the NAS 100 does today. But that is what the market has given us. And so therefore, we must be humble and accept our gifts from the market. Let's hope something works out for us. Yeah, no worries, Nadia. Take care. No problem at all. All right, so yeah, so that's pretty much it there, guys. I'm going to wrap things up there. Has anybody got any questions, please? Now is the time to ask. We've obviously only got about 13 minutes left for the bell to go for the US session this afternoon. So I'll let you guys get going, get yourself a coffee and set yourselves up ready for it this afternoon. Awesome. All right, guys, nice one. Well, yep, as I said, I'll wrap things up there then. Hope you guys all have a fantastic afternoon. Good luck out there. Let me know how it goes, and I'll catch you then. Cheers, team, and I'll see you. Bye-bye.